Will Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre save the tag team division? Will Curt Hawkins ever win a match? And we break down the last Raw before Money in the Bank. All of that up next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin. From executive producers Maria.
What was that, Tony in the booth? You just messed up the whole
I
flow.
didn't know Maria Menounos produced this track. That's weird. Usually you just hear DJ Khaled say his name a bunch of
This is
times.
before DJ Khaled.
It's actually
Well,
a little
yeah.
known fact. She actually did produce this track.
Wow.
Okay.
Weird.
All right. Well, shout out to Maria for sure. She's talking about Big Pimpin', spending the cheese. Well, the reason why we brought this song is because they said Jay-Z and John Mayer are one and the same, I guess. So John Mayer did something
Yeah,
like this. So
absolutely.
Yeah, you know.
John Mayer is huge in the hip-hop community.
yes.
Yeah.
A lot, not really. So I'm your host, TK Trinidad, and with me, we have the Destroyer,
Yep.
Robert Bain.
Yeah, Bob. Big Bob. My
Big
friends
Bob?
call me for head friends. Yeah.
Or lady
No.
friends?
Huh? I made my, like I said, it was the Coastline Classic Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. That's why I'm wearing my Coastline Class shirt. You can't get this anywhere. And it was nice to be back. You'll have to watch the show to figure out what exactly happened. But I've had a lot of fun.
I know.
It's good to be back.
It's like every week is a different lineup. It's just like, okay, well, as long as there's two.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a full four of like.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. But,
We are busy.
Hey, it is.
We're
what
at
it
the
is.
top of our field, and that's what happens when you're at the top of your field.
Big
You
pimpin'.
get requested to do a lot of different stuff.
There you go.
We're the best. What can we say? We're sorry, I guess.
That is a Khaled line. We're the best. All right, well, let's get into it. So Natalya and Sasha Banks, Alexa Bliss, and Ember Moon, they go at it in a fatal four-way. Natalya gets injured or kind of some knee issues during it. What did you think of this match?
It's pretty good, actually. This was a heck of a match to start the evening off with. I actually like the segment at the top of the show that featured the girls and the guys that are going into the ladder match. Watching it, looking at the setup initially, I thought this looks dumb.
Right.
This just looks dumb. But it actually worked out kind of okay.
Yeah.
And then they reset everything, and then we had the four-way match, and it was everybody took a lot of risks in this match, and I think really in commentary. They made that idea very clear that maybe they should reserve themselves for Sunday.
Yeah.
Because it's a ladder match on Sunday, and you've got a four-way match that you are throwing everything out. And it's tough to say that that's a good idea.
Right.
Because you don't necessarily win anything. The winner does not get anything more in the ladder match that a loser might not. So why are you working so hard?
Well-
Sasha Banks literally throwing herself at people.
Well, a couple of things. The last couple of weeks has been kind of soft as far as like storylines. The performances were okay, but I feel their performance might sway audience members to cheer for somebody a little bit more than the other person. That might be the case. They might want audience.
So you're thinking they're going hard tonight to try and get the pay-per-view buys, in quotes, that they don't necessarily get anymore because it's on the network that everybody has.
Which is interesting because now what you said, the intro that led into the match, I feel like they're taking an ESPN and boxing approach. Like you remember when Mayweather, and I'm sure they do this now too. They have the 60, like they have a couple weeks where they follow Mayweather and whoever he's going up against, and they have the guy explaining everything. I feel like they're taking that approach to it. So they're taking a lot of different sports things that have worked well and then applying it to WWE. So now it's not just wrestling.
They've been doing that for a while. They want to appeal to other sports fans outside of just the one sport.
And the voiceover guy too is either from boxing or somewhere else. I don't know if you noticed that. I think he's
from boxing.
Yeah,
I think
that tells the little stories. I'm like, this is kind of weird but great. Like I want him to do my story one day. We'll see.
But I mean, I think it lends something to the stories as a whole. But for this match in particular, it was interesting seeing Natalya fight through this knee injury and really trying her best to get the better of everybody, despite having a glaring issue that every single person took advantage of. And I'd say Sasha Banks took a lot of damage in this. I don't know if she's going to be 100% for Sunday.
Yeah.
She took that dive from Ember Moon right into the barricade. Looks like she smacked the back of her head.
And then there was something before that, too.
She went for a dive onto, I think it was Natalya, and kind of just
missed it.
Ate dirt. And it was definitely rough. But Natalya, even with the injury, managed to get the victory over Alexa Bliss with the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
So, it's very difficult to say because a sharpshooter is not a valid way to win a ladder match. So I can't say if that necessarily helps her in any way, shape, or form. It's a victory. It's a nice little, you got one.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna win Sunday.
Well, she does a lot of cryo, deep tissue, ice.
Ice.
I kind of feel like storyline-wise, if they're looking for the long game, hopefully we'll see we'll talk about that with Ronda Rousey and Nia. But the long game, the fact that Ronda's only really friends with Natalya, that almost sets itself to be like, okay, they're forced to do head-to-head, and now, Natalya's by any means necessary. So that might set up some type of thing in the long term as far as, blowing up their friendship.
Right, and I'd have to say I don't know who's going to be the number one contender after Money in the Bank, but Natalya getting the last victory before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view might put her in a better place to face whoever is going to be the women's champion after Money in the Bank. That could actually help her to sort of establish maybe the fact that she's headed towards a title match after Money in the Bank. Possibly, I'm just really speculating.
How many times has she had the belt?
Oh, not many. Okay. Let's put it that way.
Like less than 4?
Last time she had it was on SmackDown.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
She has not had it since coming to Raw.
So we'll see. So good luck, Natalya. Next up is Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Breezango. I could see their mission, but it just feels like it's gone. I don't remember seeing them last week, but maybe we did. But it feels like it's just kind of getting lost.
Who is?
Their mission to renovate or change the tag team division, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, as far as them wanting to dominate, which they are in their matches, but it feels like we don't see them doing anything else in order to remember that that's the point of them being there.
I don't think they're a tag team. As much as that makes any sense. I think they are two individuals who are driven to excel because they don't do tandem tag team moves. They are not doing tandem.
They have done
offense. a few, but not many.
Right.
The only thing that they did tonight that was tandem offense was the finish. That was it.
Yeah, so definitely the finishes that they tend
to. And that seems to be the point. Is I think these are two guys who firmly believe that they are the best of the singles division. Whether or not that's recognized is another story, but they are the best of the singles division who have decided to join forces to prove a point that it doesn't matter who they face, they are superior no matter what.
Right.
And it's hard to disagree, especially when you have McIntyre in there, who since coming back has just been the absolute peak and pinnacle of everything that WWE is.
Right.
He had won championships outside. He comes back, almost immediately wins the NXT championship.
Gets injured.
But then doesn't even go back to NXT, goes straight to WWE. Main roster television, he is the best. 6'5", he looks like
he's an Adonis. I had to pick him up from the airport.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He's enormous.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he's gorgeous. I was like, I agree.
I mean, he's not bad looking. I mean, he's got nice eyes, I guess.
He does, actually.
Yeah, they're a nice frosty blue.
It's
I know him. But he's enormous.
Yeah, he's massive.
Yeah.
He could barely fit in my car. My car is just like a normal sized people's car.
I'm maybe as wide as he is, but I'm half the height.
Yeah.
So
do you see them getting the belt eventually? Maybe not on Money in the Bank, but maybe by SummerSlam. Like, I feel like them working together and dominating the people that's on there now, it's setting them up to win belts.
I hope they don't get the belts. But if they do actually win the belts, it would mean literally nothing to them. They would leave the belts in the back. They're a decoration because they're trying to make a statement about how good they are,
Right.
and they already see themselves as championship material. A belt would simply be putting a bow on it. They
Right.
don't need it.
But what if they like run through Raw, and then I mean I don't know if this could I know it usually happens after WrestleMania, but they run through Raw maybe twice, and then it's like we're the best of Raw. Get us over to SmackDown. Could that be a possibility too?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Raw's the A show.
Right.
Not to take anything away from SmackDown, the huge television deal that they have had, but Raw is the A show, and I think if you're going to be dominant, you want to be dominant of the A show.
Right.
So I think they're in the best place to prove the best point.
Isn't the Bludgeon Brothers in on SmackDown though?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I think tag team wise, SmackDown has a better roster tag team wise.
Yeah. I have no choice but to agree.
Yeah, because I know,
especially right now.
yeah, I know you would say Raw is the dominant show or the A show up until a point, but I think, well, when Sean was running it, it just seems like I get more enjoyment watching SmackDown, as far as more invested in the storylines, and Raw is just like, sometimes it feels like they have the amount of time, they have a huge roster. I think both SmackDown and Raw does, but it seems like sometimes Raw is just like, people are going to watch it anyway because they know we're the best and just slap things on the wall versus, kind of.
I for some reason, we can't seem to get any sort of, like a genuine long-term storyline going. We just can't seem to get that on Raw. I don't necessarily understand why, but there are other teams, quality teams, that are not being used currently on Raw television, and I cannot understand why. I'm sure there is a valid reason.
Right.
I can't imagine what it is. So we're getting these very shallow storylines.
Yeah.
The only one that has any real depth would be the B team storyline, where they restarted. They're essentially a brand new team, and they're just starting to win. But that's, again, the depth of it is very shallow.
Yeah.
So it's this is what we have to work with. Would we like better? Yes.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to wait.
Figure it out. Yeah.
No clue how.
Hopefully they have a game plan. So it looked like Jinder Mahal had a game plan. Roman Reigns thought he was going to battle Jinder Mahal, but that wasn't the case. Sunil Singh was there. He's like, it's not going to be me tonight. It's going to be this great, but small, but great.
Great in spirit.
Yes, great in spirit. I like how he didn't tell Sunil. Like, he can at least, warn him. And the fact is, now I realize that they never, both brothers, but Sunil at the moment, I never see them in, like, they're never ready to, like, wrestle. I mean, they wrestle sometimes, but they're never ready to wrestle. It'd be nice, like, one day where, like, he was ready and he literally just, like teared off his pants.
Well, I mean, they are the Bollywood boys, but that's not their function currently.
Right.
So if they were to actually be a tag team, yes, they should wrestle in actual wrestling attire and not in suits.
But, like, picture it. So Jinder Mahal is setting this up and he's saying all this stuff, and instead of Sunil Singh being surprised, because he's done this before, he's ready. And, he literally has those tearaway pants, and he's ready to wrestle. And then Roman Reigns.
What I think they were trying to avoid was giving the audience an opportunity to cheer for Sunil.
Oh, okay.
And if he had done that, the audience would have gone, yeah, I hope the little guy wins.
Right.
Instead of Roman Reigns, who is
they love to
hoss
hate.
by comparison, and there's that.
Yeah.
So I think they did it the way they did it to minimize the crowd reaction for Sunil. That way, giving less latitude to Sunil and taking it away from Roman Reigns. It's hard, man. It's
but in
TV.
all reality, it doesn't seem like anybody, like, you either have people who like Roman Reigns or you have people who, like, love to hate him or love to like that. And then you have people who are confused. Like, it's just like, you just don't know, you just don't know with like there's not a definite like okay he's definitely like a heel because sometimes it feels like he's flip-flopping with that too, and that could be like the writing. But this time around it's just like, you know, Jinder's bad, right? But now you don't really know if you should cheer for Jinder or you should cheer because he has with Jinder it's like he had the backing of India. So you almost have that pride, and you might not associate with, you know, being Indian pride, but you can associate with being prideful in your country. So you can associate that.
India is a very large country,
right?
And those people are very proud of their sports figures. Indian pride is a real thing,
right? So you have that, but then it's like with Roman, it's just like last week I think he came out to help Seth, and it's like, oh, he's a good friend, like okay,
right?
So it's like nobody really cares about him, although it seems like he's put in the forefront for people to care.
Well, he complains a lot, and that's the one thing I can truly get out of all of this, is they had a backstage with him before his match with Jinder Mahal, and again, he was complaining and lamenting about, oh, this is all Jinder's fault. Jinder screwed me, so, you know, I'm going to hurt Jinder. Like, why are you so whiny? Why is Roman Reigns such a whiny puppy? It's terrible.
So do you think that's a writing thing, or do you think that the writers are taking his personality and just kind of going with
it's
that?
Impossible to tell. I think in my gut that this is going somewhere, but I do not want to give anybody false hope as to what could possibly happen. But I do have. There's got to be a reason this is happening this way.
Yeah.
It's too on purpose. You can't write a guy to be this terrible on accident. No, I'm giving him a little more credit than that.
But that's the thing, though. It's frustrating to me because you have two guys in recent times, within the last maybe year or 2 years, that both had the belts at one time or the other. So to me, if you're gonna write this type of storyline between the two of them, eventually a belt or battling for a belt or an option of the belt should come up. And I honestly, the way that Raw has been going in the last couple of months, I honestly don't see that. I see that, okay, they're going to have this, they're going to do it a billion more times, and then something new. And then it's just like, this storyline is...
The problem is we don't have a championship. We don't have a champion who is in play consistently. It was just reported that Brock Lesnar broke CM Punk's championship record with 400 days.
Yeah.
And with only, someone said 10 title defenses, and I have to take them at that. I don't necessarily have the numbers in front of me, but that seems that seemed like a number that's reasonable, at least television numbers, because we know he's done a couple of house show appearances, defended the belt there, but we have a champion that's
doesn't come when he wants.
Right. And it's really hard to make anything important when you don't have the belt.
Right.
It's very difficult. And that is the problem that they are finding themselves in. They could keep it interesting only for so long, and now everyone is very tired.
Now, is he scheduled to be on Money in the Bank or in Money in the Bank? Does he have a match set up?
No. What? Because it's no.
Okay then.
Yep.
Well, the B team, undefeated, the Cinderella story. They go up against Heath Slater and Rhino. They're really, I mean, when you're saying with their storyline, even though the B team is relatively new in its name, how they came about through the Miz Taraj and all this other stuff, they may not have planned it this way, but how they took it and spinned it, now it's like, okay, you can see the progression and where they are now. And, you know, do you think they have a legitimate win? Like, or do you think when they finally have that opportunity as far as garnering belts, they're going to lose?
The matches that they have been relatively short.
Right.
So they haven't had a real test. I think Sunday is going to be their first genuine test as a team against two legitimate tag team wrestlers. And it's going to force them to sink or swim, much the same way that the Miz leaving forced them to sink or swim.
Right.
And that will be their make or break point, win or lose, because they don't necessarily have to win the belts to prove that they're a top tier tag team.
Right.
They haven't proven that they are as good as their record shows. Let's put it that way.
Wait, who has the tag team belts again? Sorry.
Right now it's Hardy and Wyatt.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to be difficult for them.
it just seems like both teams, because obviously we saw how Hardy and Wyatt got together, but it just seems like I would want to see the B team win, just because then people will cheer for them. That's one thing, but it's like almost continue that no losing streak. Like I feel like if they lose now, then they don't have that storyline anymore, and then they come up with something else.
Right. I don't know. See, I'm funny about these things. Sometimes I think a loss is a greater catalyst for somebody than a win.
Right.
So I see the potential for them losing and truly going on an even better streak. Not with necessarily maybe the same amount of wins, but better quality matches.
Right.
And I think that would be the way for them to go. They lose, and then they have to go through everybody again, and they are on fire this time. They're not just winning; they're putting out hell-fight matches with some real opponents, and they're forced to be good, and then they can actually win the belts.
Or they just really just bumble their way through. Like the wins. Like I honestly would enjoy seeing, like I think with Raw, there are obviously there's certain aspects that have to be serious, but almost seeing them like bumble, like accidentally pin somebody, and actually get those wins. I wouldn't want them to have the belt for an extended period of time, but them accidentally getting the belt and holding on to the belt for up to SummerSlam. And each win that they get is literally...
So they sort of fall into a victory.
Right.
And every victory after that is just them...
They're trying.
Just barely getting by.
They're trying. It's not like, they figure they're going to get it. They're trying, but they're so ecstatic with the wins.
Do you know who Mikey Whipwreck is?
I do not.
Mikey Whipwreck was an ECW, and he couldn't win. He couldn't win an ice cream eating contest. But somehow he won a couple of championships, and he won them exactly like that.
Yeah.
And it's a tag team. He was tag team with Cactus Jack and Mick Foley, and Cactus would come in and just kill people, and Mikey Whipwreck was dead. He had been killed earlier, and then Cactus would just grab him and throw him on top of people, and that's how they would win. And Mikey would just kind of wake up going, "Oh, I got a belt!
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! Oh,
I
God,
would want to see that. That to me, like and then the lead up with everybody else in the locker room knowing that they're just bumbling fools, and somebody has to take
luck
them.
is on their side.
Yeah, and somebody has to take them down. Like I would want to see that kind of enjoyment, because with as you could tell, I already asked you who had the tag team belts. Like I don't even remember. Like,
well, they showed up too.
Right, just
after this match,
and they showed up, and I didn't even remember. So it's just like there's certain people, and I actually like Bray Wyatt. Like I he's memorable to me, but it's just like to me it doesn't seem like they're doing much.
It does. These two teams have not had an interaction or an altercation.
Right.
This was as close. The Wyatt and Hardy being on the ramp after the match was as close as the two teams have ever gotten to each other, really. And so it's not hard to disassociate the B team from the champions, because they've literally never been in the same ring together, at least not in recent history. So I can see why there's a disassociation. Yeah. But needless to say, they're going to all be in the same ring on Sunday, and somebody's going to be walking away with the belt.
Because it seems to with the belts. It seems like with the B team too, it's just like, how somebody's just almost oblivious. So the tactics that Bray Wyatt use, like, wouldn't really work on them, because it's not even like it just goes above their head, where it's just like, oh, okay, you're trying to phase me, but
or it works too well, and some goofiness ensues, and they get the better of it.
That's what I'm hoping, but we'll see. Yeah. We get Elias. I actually think his singing is getting better.
He might be practicing. Practice is the only way to perfect anything, professional wrestling, singing, playing guitar. So I assume that he's actually practicing on the road.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that they're making him sing every week now, it feels like he should get...
I think good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's going to get a reaction.
Right.
And that's what matters most.
It does. So he's there. Seth Rollins comes out. Elias leaves his guitar.
Brand new guitar.
Brand new guitar.
Hand painted by John Mayer. Who knew he could paint? I didn't know that.
I mean, Jim Carrey paints too, so.
That's true.
And Sylvester Stallone.
And George H.W. Bush.
There you go. So, I mean, everybody, when you have that type of money and time, I would paint too.
Paint just to paint at that point. Finger paintings.
I would
do
paint
finger
just to
paintings.
paint, just to toss it on the wall
Yeah.
and not worry about, oh, my house is still going to get paid for. I'm good. I mean, just saying. So he leaves his custom guitar in the ring because Seth kind of, chases him out. And then he decides on having, I think they should have did the auction because, help some type of charity, but they didn't do that. Seth Rollins does the 2-stomp on the guitar, tears up the guitar. What do you think about this battle, this match?
I mean, it was a battle of wills. I think it makes it interesting. I think Elias and Seth have two completely different styles, and I actually think that works to actually have a good match.
Right.
I think them meeting on Sunday for the Intercontinental Championship will be a good thing. I think it'll be kind of odd if Elias wins because in my mind, he is so much like the Honky Tonk Man that if he wins the championship, it is almost like having the Honky Tonk Man back again. Even he almost has a version of the Shake, Rattle, and Roll. Like it's almost that. It's finished. The Drift Away is close to that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like history repeating itself in a way, but I don't know what kind of champion Elias would be.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like I think he would be a good champion, but I think that he would be better crowd-wise and in general not being a champion. It's like you can place him in all these. He seems like the filler guy. Like if somebody needs a storyline and they're above the mid-card like a Seth Rollins, but he doesn't have something kind of in play. Obviously, he has the belt. It's like you throw in Elias because he has the songs, he has the audience behind him and all this other stuff. So it seems like he's the filling guy. It's like, okay, we don't know what we're going to do yet, but we'll throw in Elias. He'll sing some songs, sing something bad about them, and they go back and forth for a few weeks. And you will be invested because you're invested in Elias.
Right.
So it doesn't, champion-wise, it doesn't seem like...
It seems to me, though, that he could get the same reaction or better reaction if he came out to sing, was supposed to have a match, and just kept ducking every night and managed to hold on to that championship. People would start to pay to see him get beat and get beat on.
The Mayweather effect.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's classic wrestling 101.
Yeah.
You pay to see the guy get beat. And Elias... As much as people like to hear him sing, I think he's funny when he trashes a town or whatever.
Right.
But I think people really want to see him get his ass kicked.
But he has gotten his ass kicked, but it's just one of those things where it's
But if he has a belt, he keeps the belt, but he gets his ass kicked anyway, and you can't take the damn belt off of him, people are going to start to really foam at the mouth for this guy's destruction.
I can see that. I'm feeling that. Well, speaking of destruction, Ruby Riott goes up against Bayley. They noted that Sasha Banks wasn't in her corner. I don't know why Sasha should be in their corner. As far as I know,
think
they're
that
not
was
friends.
Corey Graves taking shots at Bayley.
Okay.
I think that's what that was. He didn't mean it genuinely. It was like, oh, where's your friend? The one who keeps kicking your ass and calling you names.
And why can't she get any other friends? I mean, there's like a lot of women in the locker room.
It's really a competitive atmosphere. And it's hard to make friends when everything is that competitive.
Well, here's the thing, though. It's almost like, oh my gosh, when Charlotte Flair had, was it Dana Brooks?
Dana Brooke, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like you have enough women in the locker room that we don't see. And I don't know if this is like a writing thing, but, Bayley is a nice person, so I'm sure she gets along with other folks as well. There's a lot more women in the locker room that she can almost start recruiting somebody to be her backup who doesn't get that TV time, because Bayley gets a lot of TV time, and start recruiting that person to be your backup, and then Sasha might actually start valuing the friendship because now Bayley and Sasha don't have that connection because Bayley has that connection with somebody else.
I don't know though. Bayley is not really somebody who wins a lot. I don't want to call her a loser, but she definitely doesn't get the W as often as she gets the L.
But if she had somebody in her back, like a Mickie James or something,
that takes somebody to invest in her.
Right.
And think because she doesn't win very much, people are worried that that reputation is going to rub off on them. And
But she
they're
hugs
gonna be seen
everybody
as
though.
somebody-
I feel like she.
It's a competitive business. That's all I can really tell you.
Yeah. Now that you say that, yeah, she hasn't been. I feel like she had a really great run in NXT, and then she came in. She had a really great run, and then since
She's
then,
been Raw Women's Champion.
Yeah.
She has.
But then since then, it's been,
recently,
like, downhill.
she just kind of hasn't been able to pull it together.
it almost feels like you should do like sit on a psychiatrist's couch, like have her in an episode, like trying to figure out why she's losing so much. I mean,
That would be interesting. Kind of hear like maybe she's trying to make friends for the wrong reason.
Right.
Maybe she's a people pleaser, and that's really what's rubbing people the wrong way.
Right.
And she gets the wrong friends. Like Sasha Banks, she kept trying to get Sasha Banks back, and Sasha treats her like crap.
Right.
Like really consistently, and until finally Bayley said no. But that's kind of the only time Bayley ever really stood up for herself, and. That, I don't know.
I feel like somebody who hugs so often should have more than one friend, but it is what it is. Speaking of somebody who only has one friend, Ronda Rousey, she and Nia Jax were kind of talking about the whole battle. Nia's like, you haven't. Well, congratulations, Ronda Rousey. First, she's being inducted to the UFC Hall of Fame.
She is?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Cool. Good for her. I mean that. I think I mean that.
That didn't really sound too believable.
I mean
Anyways, they were sitting there.
How old is she?
Ronda's 30. She's like under 33, I think.
Hall of Fame.
Well, you have to think about what she did for the sport and how Dana White placed her in situations to put her, like, when you think of UFC women, who else do you think of?
Yeah, all right. I'll give you that.
I don't even know who the champion is. Like, I know Holly Holmes and I know Misha Tate.
Yeah.
You know Misha because she got her ass beat by Ronda a whole bunch of times. You know Holly Holmes because she kicked Ronda.
Yeah.
So like you know those people, and congratulations Holly Holmes, she just won. But it's just like you don't know it anybody else. So if you're gonna pick somebody deserving that put women's mixed martial arts on in the forefront
In that arena.
that arena, yes. So
Okay.
he's not buying it.
You convinced me, Ish.
Just say.
She's still 33.
Would you get to wait until you're old and gray to get a Hall of Fame?
Generally, yeah.
Why? She's already retired. She's not coming back.
She said that?
Yeah.
Come on.
She's not going to go back to UFC.
Really?
No.
Really?
No. Once she kind of gets established, I think, once she gets kind of
Brock
established.
Lesnar wasn't going to go back to UFC either.
Yeah, I think it's two different things.
Really?
I mean, she has done interviews where she kind of hinted, but I think one, she's really in love with her husband, which obviously you should be because she's married. But I think she said she said she wanted to have kids. Like there's a whole nother life that is there for her. So she's doing WWE, and when she gets to a certain level, because we haven't seen her, we don't know if we're gonna see her every week once she kind of gets established and all this stuff. So there's a whole nother level. She's gonna want to have kids soon in the next 3 to 5 years. There's that. How many kids do you want to have? Her husband still, I believe he's still doing mixed martial arts. There's that side of it. She's still in movies. So there's a whole nother life that she doesn't need to take that abuse for. Now if she trains for it, comes back and loses again, that's too much of a risk.
I suppose.
You don't want to. You wouldn't want to do that.
I don't know. I've lost a lot of matches.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like with the way it's again how she kind of came up. But I mean, it's not like a Mayweather thing. It's like if he loses in UFC, he still is 50-0 in boxing.
Which isn't that much in boxing. Truly.
I think he's tied.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
50-0, undefeated. There's somebody who's. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll look that up.
Okay.
So they go back and forth. Nia's like, Ronda's not very experienced. Ronda goes to the go-to move, which is an armbar. Nia has a tap out. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen in Money in the Bank?
A lot of people are speculating that Ronda's going to win.
I hope not.
I, too, hope that she does not win. It'll be quality learning experience for her. Like I said earlier, sometimes you get to learn more from a loss than you can an actual victory. And I don't think Ronda knows how to be a champion. She barely knows how to be a wrestler.
Right.
She's only had a handful of matches.
Yeah, live events.
They were referring to her tonight, her track record on television, when you can really look up that she's had
I think at least
live
5 to
event
7,
matches.
yeah.
She's been getting reps in, which is good, necessary, but she's really untested still. And I know who she's training with. She's training hard. She's training with the right people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that when you get a belt, you're gonna know what to do with it when you have it. It's a completely different game, chasing a belt and then having it.
Yeah.
It's like a dog chasing a car. Dog catches the car. What's he gonna do with it? Yeah. So it's
Catch and release.
right, and you don't want to be that kind of champion.
Right.
You want to be a champion that is able to hold on to a belt for at least a 6-month period of time.
Right.
I think that's enough proof to show that you're a real champion and not a transitional champion. And you just want to avoid that term.
Yeah.
You don't want to pick up the belt and immediately lose it again. So I think it's better for her to lose to Nia Jax. And then wait for somebody else to pick up the belt and then face them for it.
Yeah, that would make sense, but the way, I don't know, it's they're setting it up. It seems like that's what's gonna happen. And the thing is that we haven't seen her. Would she be more of a Brock Lesnar champion where
We already have one of those. We don't need another one.
we'll see her, because I think last week, they weren't on they weren't at Raw. They were doing something else, and I think she's promoting. She has a movie that's coming out, so it's like she has things that she's doing. So I don't know. I'm definitely a believer that she can do it, based off of what I saw on TV the first and last time that we saw her. It's just that storyline wise, she has one alliance. Like, it just seems like
She has one match under her belt. One match. High level, but she was in a tag team, like they said. So it's what the difference is staggering between these two. Granted, they both train hard. Nia Jax has got the size advantage, and you saw it in there tonight. She's 2 Ronda Rouseys.
Right.
And Ronda was able to get the armbar, but Nia Jax was this close to powerbombing her to Kingdom Come.
Yeah, which I kind of wanted to see, but I see why they did it.
I think on Sunday that's definitely what's going to happen. With nothing on the line, Nia Jax just wants to get out. So she realized, I'm exerting too much energy. I'll let her get the armbar and tap out and kind of play possum and get the hell out of here. And then on Sunday, she tries that again. I'm going to pick her up and I'm going to drop her on her head, and then I'm going to pin her. And that's how that's going to work.
Yeah. Kudos to Nia Jax, though. I do like her mic skills. I was concerned about her mic skills, but she's doing better than I expected. So kudos to her. Speaking of somebody who's had a lot of reps but just not quite making it, Curt Hawkins and No Way Jose.
I want to read the ESPN story they did
know.
on Hawkins. That was the first I had heard of it tonight.
Yeah,
I was
it's kinda
very
crazy.
interested.
Out of all the stories and all the charity events that a lot of superstars are doing, and the Ronda and Nia Jax thing and all that other stuff, they choose to write about Curt Hawkins losing 200 times.
Because
oh
I say that is the more interesting story. Look at this loser over here. Why does he keep losing?
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. Like, I think I do want to read the article because I want to see if it's him or the character. Because it's like,
6 of 1. We're all who we pretend to be to a degree.
But is he like, I don't mind, I'm getting a check? Or is he like, I legitimately want to win and they won't let me win? Like, I kind of want to see which way he goes in the article.
But the more interesting story is always, I want to win. There's no story when it's, I'm happy. It's a very short article.
I'm happy. I get checks. How much is your check? I get more than you. Thank you. Move on.
Okay. And the article is this big.
So Sami Zayn and Bobby Lashley. So Sami creates an obstacle course for Bobby Lashley. He finishes it in record time. I don't know what the record is. I don't even know if there is a record, but he created
I honestly think Lashley beat whatever the record could have been.
The record was.
He was really impressive, as he is. Yes. He is a heck of a physical specimen.
Yes, he is amazing, and his body's banging, and the extra stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a little big. He's a little big.
What do you mean a little big?
Like, he's not, his dimensions are weird.
well, his calves might be tiny. But Jinder
Are they?
Mahal's calves are tiny
I
too.
didn't realize he's got runner's legs. I've known a lot of guys that just have runner's legs.
But he's like all shoulder, you're saying, right?
Right, yeah. And he's weird proportions.
He probably has, I'll have to look at him again, but it looks like he has, his arms are probably a little bit long. I could see that, but he's still amazing.
His arms look short. They just look, especially when your shoulders get out, your arms actually get shorter.
Oh, well.
I should know.
Well, I'll take them.
His arms? You want arms like that?
I'll take it all.
Just gonna glue big ass arms onto her body.
I don't need it on my body. Well, not in
That's
that
what I thought
way.
you meant, just like SpongeBob in it, just giant arms for no reason.
Anywho, he finishes the obstacle course in record time, and as you predicted, right as he's done doing his little celebration, Sami Zayn, cold cocks him.
Wrestling!
And they go at it. So, what do you think about this future match?
I think Sami Zayn is so interesting, and he's able to keep your attention, even with something like this that is so thin.
Right.
It's very watered down. This isn't a feud, but Sami Zayn has made it into a feud because he has puffed it up, and now it's this big thing to him, and because it's big to him, it's a big deal.
Right.
Like it's one of these situations where Sami Zayn cares so much that the audience is kind of going, where is this going?
Yeah.
You're interested in this because you're interested
Yeah,
in
because
this.
it's just like, why? And
It would be so easy for him to go, I don't care about this. This is a nothing series of matches. But it seems like he genuinely cares. And the audience is kind of following, like, what is the beef here? What is your problem?
I think Bobby Lashley's kind of falling. I don't understand what's going on, but I'm going to show up. I've worked out this week, so let's just do it. Like, let's go. Like, I had a meal.
That seems like Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, it's like,
pretty much.
yeah.
Well, I'm here. I don't
Why
want me to
not?
do an obstacle course. I'll do an obstacle course. Okay. What do you want me to do tonight? You want me to do that? Okay. All right, yeah.
Why not?
Bobby Lashley, easy going.
Yeah. With his three sisters.
Yes, three sisters.
So we'll see what's going to happen with that. I mean, yeah, it feels like he might just pretty much tear down Sami. And
No, Sami Zayn will be hard to catch. He always is. That's
yeah,
the
but
thing about
I
Sami Zayn.
don't think he's going to tear him down. Like, I think it'll be a good match because they're two different type of wrestlers. But I think in the end, and maybe it's just preference, I think Bobby's going to just finish him off. It's like, okay, we had a great fight, and now
That would be. I hope not, because that would be
want Sami to win?
interesting. Yeah.
But then what do you do with Lashley after?
Have him wrestle him again. What do you do after Lashley wins? Not much.
Well, create something different, but I guess for longevity, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then that brings us to the big one, Braun Strowman, with a fatal four-way. How did you feel about this? Thanks, Tony in the booth. Woke me up even though I said I wanted to go to sleep soon, but whatever.
Well, that'll keep your heart racing
I
for a
know,
little
right?
while.
It's actually going up. Went from 66 to 74. No, there it goes to 80 right there. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, heck of a four-way. Finn Balor,
Kevin
Bobby
Owens.
Roode, Kevin Owens, and Braun Strowman. These four guys. Again, another case of, aren't you guys working on Sunday? And it's really important?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? I mean, points to Bobby and Finn for kind of like laying back and trying to get Strowman under control. They did for a little bit, and Owens with the enormous splash off the top of the ladder through the announce table.
I loved it when he said, hold the ladder. I was
Hey, OSHA standards, safety first. Absolutely. No. Every single guy in that match, other than Strowman, did his finisher to Braun Strowman.
Right.
Braun Strowman still kicked out. He still went on to win the match. Honestly, this was a lot of fun to watch. And it shows that Strowman cannot be stopped. But I don't know if he has what it takes to climb a ladder to get a briefcase.
Now, do you think he's ever going to get the belt? Like, I feel like he should have got the belt a while ago.
He'll get it.
But it's just getting, like, he's just tearing through people. So it's just like...
It's what he does. He's good at it.
Right.
He actually, the promo before the match was pretty good. Strowman comes up to them and goes, hey, why don't all three of you take me on? It's exactly what Owens had been doing the entire night, trying to round up everybody to take on Strowman. And that's exactly what happened. Rude and Balor were like, well, I don't really want to do that. That doesn't sound great. But all of a sudden, Braun starts off the match by taking them all out, and it's like, oh, this has to happen.
Right.
We don't have an alternative. We have to
work
all of
together.
us together kick his ass, or he will maul us to death like a grizzly bear.
And the end is he wins.
It was Owens. Owens threw a ladder with the power slam. 3 count. That's it.
Well, do you think he's gonna get the? Well, we'll see. Cause I don't think he'll have a problem getting up there.
Strowman?
Yeah.
He's heavy. He's big. I think he's unsteady on a ladder. People don't understand ladder on a wrestling surface moves a lot. That's why guys move as slow as they do, because it's really unsteady to walk up a ladder. Walk up a ladder on the ground, that's one thing. It's stationary. On a mat, on the wood, it moves a lot. It's very, very unsteady.
Well, it is very unsteady. We'll see everything that's going to be happening this Sunday and Money in the Bank. Other than that, a shout out to everybody in the live chat for joining us. Sorry I couldn't, read all that and do that since it's only 2 of us in studio today. However, where can they find you, sir?
Find me on Instagram and Twitter at Baines Destroy. Let's see. Next week we have pro wrestling emanating from North Hollywood, just over there, CIA, California Institute of Abnormal Arts, and it's a lot of fun. The main event is all for the Kingdom of Monrovia, the beautiful Kingdom of Monrovia. There will be one winner. He will be the new king of Monrovia.
Well, good luck.
Well, it won't be me.
Oh, well, okay, we'll talk.
I'm not in it.
All right, other than that, thank you guys for joining us. You can find me on everything at TK Trinidad, also TMZ Talking Ish every day. And we will see you, or some version of us will see you next week. Don't forget to check out Women's Pro Wrestling Weekly and all those other wrestling shows that we have. NXT, Xbox 12360, all those wrestling shows for you guys, Total Bellas, all that and more coming up this Wednesday. But we will see you, or some of us will see you, on Monday.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.